But now, big up yourself, 9565 Bockway. We're back again, Max and Shan. You don't know. Hey, hold tight. That what episode?
40, the big 40. You know, like that. Like wow.
I never thought you would make it. You know. We just break it down. Let me keep this, but I didn't know you actually would go on. You look like one of them. Would you look like one of them old school hip hop honeys that were in the videos that, you know, like, who's that girl? You get me? You know that, who's that girl? Na 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 na. Like, oh my days. But no, I didn't think you would make it.
So was that an actual
As in what, you think should make 40 series?
Yeah, no, I didn't think we would make it. You know, honestly, I thought it would burn out. Like, we just burn out. Like, but let's start. We find the. Wow. I'm deleting that out. No. I knew we would make it. Now I knew. You know what? I dreamt of getting to this stage. You know, like that from there. So you get me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just needed the Vaseline for the lips a bit dry. Need his teeth in that. You get me? Hey, this one 40. I don't know what it represents on it, but I know that's the beginning of, like, when I turned 40. That was my life changed completely. Like, you know that you thought it was 40 is an old age. Like, oh, you're old when you're 40, but nah, it's the beginning of life. Like, it's mad. So even just to have our special guest on today, like, this man has been I have to give him appreciation and flowers, because this guy has we've done some mad things. We've done some guerrilla style movements in the community. We've changed. We've done a lot of work together, and I've seen the work is. No, don't tell people. Don't tell people. I don't want no people to know.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
No, but it's there. No, it is. But I don't want people to know that. You get me? But actually, you know what? Furthermore, because you know, like certain people, that buy her clothes in the shop, because it's exclusive. They don't want to tell with their friends where they got it from. Which I said, that's bad, man, because you really and truly, you meant to support the business and make it grow. But then people want, I just want to keep it exclusive. I want people to tell you where I get my stuff from, which I get. So even with this situation, when people think, who's the brains behind who... You know what I mean? You don't want to say that because you don't want people to go and then go, I'm going to go to him now. You get me? Nah, boom. Nah.
Yeah, but the difference is that you and him both chop it up together. And
I was just about to say that. It's not, I don't come out with a concept. You come to me with something and we work in a partnership. Yeah. Within that concept, and then we get there together, don't we?
Yeah.
Boom, man, you soon come. Yeah, man.
Not everyone has that same synergy.
No, I don't think I've had it with many males in my life. Some people I can go to, someone that I can just be, that I can.
But you've always had that with us. You've had that with me and Kevin.
Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, but you know, like it's so inviting. Hold tight, Kevin as well, amazing guy. Like them two together, like Batty and Bench, but just like. You like think how these guys together know each other, but the way they connect with each other is unreal. Like it's mad. But I just want to give the whole purpose of having you on the pod is the one giving you flowers. No, that's not flowers because people can't complain and don't get flowers.
It's been a long time coming as well.
Yeah, but it's about it's about appreciation. Literally, it's like appreciation for the advice you've given, the guidance you've given, and the aspiration that you've put out for myself, my family, even my boys. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I have to give that. People don't. When people say, "Oh, who's your driver? And who do you inspire? And who's your role model?" I don't believe in role models, but role models, it have to be Michael Groce. Like, it have to be top 10. You get what I'm saying? There's not many men that I can say that with, but top 10 is a go-to person to have a. If we go on the phone, it's not just to go on the phone for 10 to 5. We're on the phone for hours sometimes.
Yeah, just true. I mean, you must think. I can't get this man off, but that's how we are, right?
No, we just chat, and it's good convo. Yeah, it's never like even the other day we're on the phone. I was meant to go and B&Q. I'm sitting outside B&Q. I'm not going in because I want that full. I need to listen. Like we're chopping it up, and I don't care. Yeah, I might be late for the appointment. I was like, nah, this is the only time. Sometimes it's best time to just chop it up and get some knowledge, get some understanding.
You know you're going to leave
back
the
and
conversation
forth.
with something.
I had to leave the conversation after he had his friend on the phone. I was like, nah, I'm gone now.
No, that was crazy.
I was gone now. I was like, this man's weird. Like, they get me. Like, Michael's doing
that is what I call a general temperature gauge for what you find across the community. Anyway.
100%.
That type of mentality when it's like, you know, you've got your own people against you for being polite and kind and want to be part of the community because they're not part of it.
Yeah.
And you can see why people are, don't engage or don't want to engage with that type of mentality. But that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Nah, it's mad.
Them, or they're suspicious of it.
It's mad, and then we're hearing that. Because obviously this is about community at the moment. It's about community. It's about the state of the community, but trying to look at where we can go to some core roots today, innit? So when he said, Mark, he goes, yeah, my man leaves his door open. I'm like, what? He literally leaves his door open. So the man on the phone's like, am I idiot, you know? Home for leaving, door open and rare, and this, that and the other.
So what is it? Because of the area that you live in, or this is just what you do?
I've always had my doors open. I'm not being a man that would close my door. I've always been like that.
And what? You just don't have a worry of...
I think now, that's the key. I think because I've changed... no, I've always had... Originally, the door was open before because I grew up in domestic violence. So we just need the quick way out we need the quick way out the house without no one making no noise. So we always had that door. My mum had her door always open. We never actually locked it. We just have a piece of paper on the door and go about our business.
Yeah, but then you said your mum, there was a generation where that was common.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
like
fast forward,
a lot of people in my flats are shocked. But now everybody knows it. They always say,
but look at that situation where you just spoke about. I don't want to talk obviously business where the parcel, you gone out with your friend, that same guy that why you leave the door, you've gone out and then you're far away from the house and whatever you're doing, you've got a mission and then a parcel's left at his doorstep. He's panicking now. You've made one phone call to someone in the neighbour.
So it shows how you are with your neighbour.
Leave it in my house.
To be fair, I wouldn't feel too concerned to leave the door open.
I think we do most of the time when we're like sat.
But because there's so many of us in and out the house, you kind of.
Yeah, and I think that where I live as well, as part of that is everybody knows my house anyway. That makes sense. I'm really well known in the area now.
So people are always.
Someone's always looking at my door. You know what I mean? There's no one you can knock into my door and get away with it. But saying that, the same breath, I kind of like got used. And the other part of that was that I was getting a bit absent-minded as well. So it's almost like I just wanted something in place, and I think it just showed a degree of trust. I trust my neighbours.
And that's we're far from that at the moment. I'm trying to install that back in our community, especially around here. We did try it and then it went left a little bit, but then it's like we're getting it back to where it was, where we can actually call. We're in Turkey and we could call one of our neighbours, get our parcels. Oh, wow, cool, get it. They're excited because they want to.
See what you know what I'm talking about.
They want to be part of it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And then to allow someone else, and then someone else. We didn't tell our neighbours we went away. You know what I'm saying? How was your trip? How did they know? Do you get what I'm saying? Because they're in tune. Someone will talk to that person. It's not a bad thing, but it just shows. And I know if anything did happen here, I know they will be on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's about me. Sometimes I now, obviously we've had a little fuse in our community, but I'm like, it's about time taking down the barriers. You're right, mate. Keep it moving. And
but before
you know what I'm saying?
We come to the end of the pod, welcome, Michael Groce.
Yeah.
You know that?
I'm deleting this out, because she's getting better now. No, you're getting better now. Before she did talk.
She'd be waiting for you to just lead the way.
Yeah, just lead the way. But now you're getting better. Nah, come on.
Episode 40. Thank you for inviting me.
Finally broke your ducks and that. You get me?
Don't crack me up.
After I've done that big speech and that, and said about, welcome, welcome.
Let's just
but it's family though, man. I don't care like that.
For the benefit of the viewers.
No, true. Big up the haters though. I forgot. Big up the haters. Love you. You know how it is. You got to keep pressing that button and all that kind of thing. Yeah. No. Look. No. The reason we got your Wikipedia is mad, isn't it?
Very broad.
It's broad and your Wikipedia, like when you Google it, there's so much. But if you had to rewrite your Wikipedia and put it in the words of how you would present yourself, what would you say?
I don't know, because I didn't do my Wikipedia.
Yeah, obviously, I know, innit? But you can edit it and do it yourself now,
I don't know.
But what is your bio? What if someone said, alright, who's Michael Groce? Like, who are you, innit?
Oh.
Because you go by many names. Mickey, Cowboy, like, there's so many names.
Yeah. I don't know generally, I always tell people I'm a poet. I think that's that was the whole idea of why I went down that road in the beginning, was to sort of like fight the narrative of what I was before, which was a criminal. Right, so and even as a criminal, I was what you call opportunist. So I didn't have a style; I just stole.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever worked.
It worked. It was money end of it. I would do it. You know, one of them ones. So it's like I've always been that way, and I think that reflects within my work now. It's quite varied in the body what it does. But I just think that basically comes down to who I am as a character as well. So I can cross many fields. So with that, it opens many doors for me. That makes sense. Whereas you got some people, they're in that lane. I'm a black youth worker.
That's it.
Yeah. I am a black this. I'm done. I'm not. I'm an engager. I'm engaging. I'm doing, and that's what always been known for. And so it doesn't matter where I go.
Cause you wear enough hats. 1 minute he's in there, 1 minute he's there, 1 minute he's there. He's never settled in one place. 1 minute he's there. Yeah. 1 minute he's doing gardening. Next minute he's got.
You got to use your.
I love it. It's like me, man.
You know what I mean? It's like I've got all the skill sets in me, and it's almost like if I don't release that in so many ways, right, then I'm going to be frustrated. So the best thing I can do is keep myself occupied, especially as a man that if I'm not occupied, I'll get myself in trouble. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm dealing with. So it's just like, just stay occupied. You're lucky you got all these skill sets you can fall back on, and that gives you that variety of what you want to be in life. So when people try and trap me into something, you'll see me move out. I don't want to be that type of thing. Apart from you saying I'm a poet, that's the strings. That strings everything together for me.
Okay.
Nah, mad, isn't it?
Quite similar to you.
Yeah. That's why it was him that gave me the name for hide and seek.
Okay.
Like I said, I want a one-stop shop, innit? One-stop shop. Boom, boom, boom. Phone you back. Didn't even phone me back. It's like 1 minute. It's like, why did you even put the phone down? Yep, hide and seek. Think about it. I'm like, I'm thinking about, what do you mean hide and seek, bro? That's dumb. Like, that's like hide and seek. When you think of the beehive and the collective, and I was like, you're such a joker, you know. That's how you punch in your face. I said, you know how I did that. Did it to me as well. Yeah, every time, not without fail, like that. And look, I've grown it from a seed.
What, 10 years?
Yeah,
it's been
and
10 years.
and I earn off that, and I'm it's a it's so.
Yeah, because sometimes I see it, because I remember the conversation we had and the concept of it, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, that's really a long time ago, and that was conceived on idea, and it's still going strong.
I've given up services. Like I've had removals, and then I had gardening. And then next minute after, I've said, because the business is growing, I have to get rid of the gardening and the removals. Now we've got the cleaning company. Now it's just gone, you know what I mean? It's just gone from strength to strength. And I've just utilised it.
Because that's the power of, what they say, a thought.
Yeah.
Like everything we see today began in someone's mind. And then it was birthed either through a word or an action. And then...
Because it was just involved to evolve, remember, before. That's how I used to be, involved to evolve. I had to eat. And then
you still kept that email?
I love it, but...
That's lovely, I like it.
Yeah, I'd never forget that, like, involved to evolve, because that was my main thing about evolving.
I like the idea, though, of everything's a thought, because that's what God means, the great poet. It's like, he had a thought. If you see, he never did no action. It's just, he thought it, let there be light, and boom, light appeared.
Boom.
So they call him the creator, which is the great poet. So it stems from everything's a thought. And I think, again, if you've got certain skill sets, I think it's a crime that we don't get to indulge in that, and we get heightened to just choose one or two, and then stick in that lane. And I think your life don't become as varied. And I think that's what I like about hide and seek. It's about this whole idea of this collective.
Yeah.
And it's all there.
Because when people say, sorry to cut you, so when people say, what's your business? And I say, it's all my talents put in together in one.
Yeah.
And then literally I'll be able to subcontract work out to other people that have that similar talents, or I don't have to do the work on. And I'm like, right, to be able to just say it.
So not only just to hide and seek, but to evolve to
evolve. Is it?
Yes, exactly.
What's this one here? What you said? She's turning poet and that. She's getting better. Like, this is gonna be a mad. Wait. It's gonna be Shannon Maxine. You get me? Yeah.
Where was he?
But it's the way she did it.
She goes, yeah, but.
She's a joker. Nah, let's get in though. Obviously, Matt, it's been mad because there's so many angles we could speak to you about in terms of your life, and that it's crazy. But obviously, where we are now, and especially what's going on in society now, especially with young people, families breaking down, and all these kind of elements. We had a long conversation, and he showed me a document, and the document opened my eyes up to so many things, and we started speaking. So everybody that's on my Instagram page, I put up a page of I just want to pay a picture of a boy in a school
environment, like
school environment. I'm gonna say in a room, classroom. So I'm gonna say he's a boy in a classroom, and he's sitting in there. Just give me an age. Let's have an age, please.
I was
8 years old.
Yeah.
So imagine a young black boy. So if you're white, whatever it is, you just imagine yourself now, please. Just use your brain. And then sitting in there, 8 years old. So 8 or 11.
Under 11.
So under 11. And then sitting in a classroom, and at home ain't right. After school, you're about to get into a commotion with some other boys that want to get at you. Fights. There's racism in the school. Bullying, all kind of aspects. And the teacher's on you. And the teachers... Let's just look at the angle of all these kind of things that a young person can go through in a school classroom setting.
You feel like the teacher don't get you, or
and
may not like you.
Yeah, and it opened up my eyes to many things, especially with my son being in school, what he probably was going through, and then me as the parent, like, why are you getting attention all the time? Not realizing that on the other side, he might be getting bullied. He could be going through that. Whatever kind of aspect, the teachers also going through their thing. There's so many different angles, and that one thing that I concentrated, that I focused on, was that young boy that was going through that. So when Michael was explaining to me that situation of what he went through, it opened my eyes, innit? Like, that's why I had to do that graphic and put it out there. And we look at these young people now, and we blame them for this and that, and we don't look at the paradigm. We just look at it one way. We've got this blinkers on, like, wow, it must be the parents, and just blame that. Or it must be the school. We don't look at all the angles, and the main culprit is the young person, and how they're affected. And then when I read your thing about you, obviously you've been in the care system from 4. I was like, huh? That's not a good start to life. And I always believe what starts well ends well. The only person I know that don't start well is Usain Bolt. That's it. You get me? And still, that's the only person I know that don't start well, but always ends well. But but to see where you are now, based off what we've read, I always said that, and I'm saying it out here, live and direct, that Michael was in the prime position. We spoke on the phone. I said, you're in the prime. You hold the key to what could unlock some things that are going on in the society today. Going through the care system, being able to stand where you are now, sit there. Yeah. Look how young he's looking like. You know, like he's meant to be all decrepit and that, moving mad and that. You know, like that on the pack, moving mad and that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We have to carry him in. You know what I'm saying?
Sitting there like this, going, boy, I'm in a know, you know.
Have a subscribe and that. You get me? But you know what I'm saying? I need to drove past him. I was like, who's that?
I just swiped out.
Do you know what I'm saying? So to see where you are from what you went through to that, I would love to just. I want to look at how that care system going in from 4 years old, how that journey, and what was probably the most profound memories that you had.
Do you remember the age of 4?
Yeah, that's the next thing. I don't remember none of it.
I tell people I don't remember. I do and I don't. Yeah. It's scattered. Yeah. I remember Lewisham as a little boy, and I can pick out fragments. And then I remember me being on Darburg Road and living in the front line and doing what I got to do there. But over the years, I was telling people, because what's been happening to me, some of the information now is not, I don't need it. It's no longer. So my schooling, my childhood, I've completely blanked it.
Okay.
It was only till when the Lambeth readdress scheme came up, and all the kids in Lambeth was going to get compensations, and I'm one of them, that I actually went back to it and addressed it again. Yeah. And even then, I still found it difficult to make myself seem like a victim. Okay. That makes sense. Because if I do that, then I feel I'm gonna be really bitter about certain things. So I think I look at it as I was victorious in certain situations, and it just carried me all the way through whatever I faced, whether it's in children's home, whether it's in youth offenders, whether it's my ball stool, whatever it was, that journey. And it was really weird because I was saying to people, throughout the whole of that journey, all I wanted to do was come home. I just felt like the Wizard of Oz, like Julie clicking her toes going like, I just want to go home. When can I go home? And all I kept saying was, when am I going home? When am I going home? So I never ever settled. That makes sense? Yeah. And there's one pic in one of my reports when they finally got me and I went, oh well, I'm staying then. And that was. Could
you remember? Hold on, wait. So because you told me one time when you escaped, like they moved you out. You were far out, and you watched. As you were going, you watched.
I was in South Vale.
That's it,
right? And
how old were you then?
I was 6, 7, and I thought, oh my God, where am I, man? And I looked out the window and I saw the free bus, which I know goes past my mum's house. You know, one of them ones. Yeah. So I waited for them to send me to bed. And when they sent me to bed, I just waited for the bus. I could see it come down the hill. Just dumped out the window, over the wall, waited by the bus stop for the bus, jumped on the bus and went home.
How long before they found
Well, they knew it was that night, innit? So they came for me the next day and said, you need to come back. And so I was like, oh, I want to come back. But they finally got me in the end. And so I went back and then, yeah. That was, I've always been kind of like escaping ever since. Like escape from court, escape from everywhere. But I think, like I say, it's only when I was about 13, 14 when I realised I'm not coming back. It's not going to happen. And I think that mentality of trying to get back and wanting to come back really played a big part of my behaviour as well. That makes sense because I wasn't settling in at all. Yeah. But I'm learning. Even though I'm not learning, I'm learning. I just don't realise I'm learning it. Yeah. And so you heard me speak about it before, and I said to you that it's only when I went straight that I can actually go, all right, what do I need to do? And all of a sudden I started going back to what I was taught, and I started picking out things that I needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so things were being planted, even subconsciously.
It's there. Yeah. It's there. I'm on the ball. And so it made it a lot easier when I wanted to be a writer, for example. I knew exactly what I had to do. And no one didn't have to ask me. I knew exactly what I had to do, what work I got to put together, how that's going to look, how I want it to sound. So I just knew, that. And I go back to my teacher, Mrs. Sinden, who's the only teacher that had patience with me at school. She was the only one who actually proper knew me. And I think when I was going senior school, I couldn't even read. Even in children's home, I still couldn't read yet. And I'm 11. And she said, when you go to school, you're going to have a lot of fights, man. And I said, what? And she goes, you're going to have a lot of fights because the kids are going to pick on you because you can't read. And because you can't read and you're easy to shame. She goes, no, I'm not. She goes, no, look at you. My lip was popping out.
Yeah, defensive.
She was like, look at your lip already. It's already popping out. Yeah, no, my lip ain't popping out. But it was popping out. And I realised I had to do something about that because it was a really tough enough being in school in Sussex. The only
the only
black kid there as well. Everyone knew about me in the area. So, yeah, I thought I'm gonna have to improve that bit because I know I'm gonna get into a lot of fights if I don't. And so that's when the poetry come into board, and they gave me the poetry books to memorise words and shit like that. And so that was the first stages of it was there, and English literature and all that. So.
Okay, so you see, like when you got the report from Lambeth about like a lot of your history and so on and so forth, like what kind of emotions did that?
I cried.
Okay.
Simple.
It's because, like I'm saying, it's like you forget things, and then when you see it on paper, even though it's their version, it's not the real version, right? I'm towing 4 lines here.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of the lines I'm towing. There's the court line I've got to tow. There's the children's home itself I've got to tow behind the scenes, and there's my own line that I've got to tow to, right? And so when I read it, it was the language that really got me because I'm like thinking they didn't really register much about me as a boy. But it's all there. Yeah. But you can see the language was really. It's almost like there was bits I was reading. I was like, that once have they said I'm black? They just made it sound like I'm a really bad kid. One of them ones.
Okay.
This boy don't learn. This boy's always in trouble. This boy's always in a fight.
So this is going back to like the 60s, 70s.
70s, yeah, where the language was really basic, and they were scared to say racism. They said, "Oh, the girls treat me condescendingly." No, that's racism. It's not condescending. You don't even know what that means at school. How can they treat me condescendingly? I mean, no, that's just wrong. They're racist. They was being racist towards me, and so I think it was those when I saw it in the flesh and saw it in the writing, it was a tough time to read, but I also felt vindicated. So, and I saw a lot of me of where I am today.
Yeah. In
there.
What stood out mostly? What kind of things stood out where you thought, oh, okay, that is me?
Well, when I first read it, my missus at the time said, she goes, fucking hell, you was visualising then. You visualisation when he's a boy. And I think that plays a big role in what I'm all about. So even though it's against me, I go, yeah, me and my mum going to get a house one day, you know. They're like, no, you're not. No, we are. You know what? They're like, no, Michael, they're going to talk to you. I don't care. I'm going to get a house one day. We're going to have our own key. No, you're not. No, we are. And that's me. That is.
So you just thought you were deluded, but
yeah,
you were.
But actually, I'm
seeing.
I'm going to get a house.
Yeah.
You lot might not see it, but I can clearly see it. Whether I'm going to teeth my way there, whether I'm going to work my way there. Well, yeah, I'm getting there. Sooner or later, we're going to get that thing. And I think even up to my mum shooting, I didn't really see that, but still had that visualization of I could do better. I'm going to get things done. So it was, that was the key.
So did it fill in? Did it help fill in some gaps?
Yeah, that puzzles. You know,
like,
that missing puzzles and that. Like slots in. Yep. That's better. Like.
Yes and no. I think it was more for. It was more that it's something I want to show my kids really, especially my daughter. Okay. I think it will give them much better understanding of what I'm all about as a youth. And I think especially now that they've got their own kids. Yeah. So my grandson's been taken out of school. He's doing homeschooling.
Okay. Perfect.
Right, because he was getting picked on like I was in school. Right, even though.
How old is he?
He's 13.
Okay.
So she was like, "Nah, you ain't going to do to him what you did to my dad." So she took him out, and I was really pleased to hear that from her, and that she took responsibility to school him and be part of that process of him being in school. And he's happier. Sometimes he wants to go back to school because you miss that crowd bit, right?
The social part.
Yeah, the social part you're missing.
But you're protecting him from what's going on. Because he could have gone left. He could have done something mad. End up in the centre and then just go left.
Into schooling when he's maybe whatever he needs to catch up on, right, or not catch up on.
But for now, I just need a stopgap.
Yeah. I think that whole idea of homeschooling, which was never ever brought to us as a Was it no? It was never brought to me, because there'd be times when I would have done homeschooling with Jordan, for example. I would have done homeschooling for him because he was going through the same thing as me as well. School labelled him up big time, but I think they labelled him up because they knew he was my son as well. So he didn't get.
It's going against him.
It was going against him. So, but yeah. There was things that it did fill up, and like I'm saying, I was reading it. I'm like, there's times I was crying. I looked at that, I thought, poor a kid going through that, and then I saw what my mum was going through as well. It made me realise as well what she was. It was tough for her.
Did you? Because many people do talk about abandonment, and it's a child trauma kind of element. How did you deal with? That thing where you're going home and then they bring you, I'm home, and then they're taking me back. Hello, I'm home, and then you abandon me. Like, how did how did you? What was it like? We experienced it on smaller levels. Like we thought, oh, my dad didn't acknowledge me today, say hello to me. But you're experiencing it in a different element where it's like my mum's right there, and you're taking.
Yeah, but I didn't think my mum abandoned me.
Okay.
I never ever thought that. Right. I just thought that. It's me and them, the system against me and my mum.
Okay.
That's how I looked at it, right? Yeah. And then me and my mum's working together, and she's like, "No, but don't say nothing to them. Don't tell them what we're going with. No, they're not a thing there." So I'm living a half line, trying to walk that line with them.
Trying to protect
I'm trying to protect my mum, but it's sinking me as well, isn't it? Because they're like looking at me going, "Bro, why is this you committing crime on street?" Well, actually, there's a lot. They did know what she was going through, so and it was the help was always forthcoming. So in that sense, but the key for me is when they dumped me in Beechwood House. That is where I felt the abandonment. That makes sense, because when they took me to Beechwood House.
And what's that? That's the care home, innit?
That's the final one they sent me to.
That little chiefing one. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought we was visiting someone. I didn't know I was going. I had no idea what was happening to me. It's only when I saw couple of kids playing. I was like, right, this man's like a black man. He's got you everywhere. I didn't even think it was a children's home. It was just such a nice place. I just thought it was a normal home.
Yeah.
You know? Let me go and play. So off I went playing like everybody else. Then I saw the car. Go. You know what I mean? And then when I ran back, screaming and crying, blah, 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 saw my suitcase, that broke me.
Wowza.
Big time. That completely... That's when I thought my mum ain't abandoned me. They've just tricked me to get me here. You know, one of them ones, and you don't always read it properly. And so that's why I kept constantly, when am I going on? When am I going on? Yeah, that wasn't easy.
No, that's.
I couldn't imagine me taking one of my children somewhere and dumping them. I just
no look back.
No looking back whatsoever.
No rear mirror thing. Or
nothing, brother. So I don't think I could do it. And in fact, I know I wouldn't do it because when Jordan was going to be taken away, I stepped up for him. So, but yeah, that was it. And then after I got over that initial shock and tears of it all, I just hardened again. And I thought, yeah, well, this is it then, innit? We're going to just, and I just took on board what was around me and decided I'm going to survive best way I can.
Best way you can. Sorry, bear me a second, Michael.
So, hence the fighting, the violence, and all the others that went with it. But yeah.
That's mad.
Dump, you know. So we did the documentary for BBC, you know. And BBC was like, blows and skirts. And there's 4 of us. There's not just me in this documentary. There's 3 or 4 of us. All got dumped in kind of very similar ways. It's a very common thing them days to just dump you.
Can you imagine?
Is that the best way to do it? Is that the best way to do it, though, isn't it? Because
like ripping off a.
You know what it is? We had Christopher Cyrus on there one time, and they said that when he got sentenced, they just put you in a cell, innit? They don't give you like a I said like a hotel where you get like an induction shown around. This is where the toilet is. This is where the fire exits are. This is your duvet. This is your toilet. Man said I know. Man said they put you in a cell. And then they close the door. I was like, nah, that's wrong. I'm not gonna show you where the courses are, what you need to do. Nah, you have to navigate your way through.
You've got to navigate,
the trial though is different.
This is the madness. Like you just literally, they got to navigate their way, but they have a system in place that when you sit, they do psychoanalysis and sit down, Michael. We're gonna show you like what.
Well, you have what you call an induction day. Most prisons, any system you have in there, will have an induction day. It'd probably be the next day that you're admitted in. It won't happen on the day you get there. The
if
day
you're lucky.
It's called the settlement day. So we probably get there mid-afternoon, mid-evening. So we're going to have something to eat. They're going to give us our blankets and we're going to give them a spot to sleep. And then next day, you're going to find your way what the hell is going on. So it depends where you are. Prison. So they're exactly the same process, whether it's Stanford House, Latchmore House, Beechwood House, whatever it's Greylands, wherever I've gone to, it's exactly the same thing.
Do you think it's still the same today?
It's exactly the same. It's that process will never change. It's the process of being inducted into a prison, or wherever you go to.
Even the care system.
So when I was inducted into the children's home, for example, I went in. They set me. And it's only next day that because the systems, the routine's already in play. So when I come in, they got to slot me in, right, as quick as they can. And then when everybody else is going to school next day, I'm not allocated school yet, and got my uniform yet, and got all my other bits that I need to survive. So when everybody else is gone, I'll spend that day to just being settled in, shown everything is, and so on and so forth.
Why you got your push-up face?
Well, you got your push-up face. Yeah.
So was you still, although they were, like you knew where your mum lived, and was you still connected to some of your family members?
No, I didn't see my mum for 2 years after that, after I left.
And not even your siblings?
No, I didn't see no one. And then, so...
What does that feel like? No, because that's 2 years of building up a whole heap of... Did they manage that? Can the care homes, are they equipped to manage that? 'Cause I want to really ask the question, are the care system misunderstanding and underestimating? Do we misunderstand and underestimate
that is linked with
social care? Do we underestimate it? Like, because that is massive. 2 years. How old are you again? How old are you then?
When I went in?
Yeah.
I was 8.
8? Nah.
You're just, I put that when I went in.
Yeah, I know, it's mad, isn't it? Sorry, it's like, it's mad. It's like you got this ball of, you get me? And did they suppress that? Did they help suppress that to say, all right, I know this guy, little boy is young boy has lost his hair. How do they suppress that or help you to kind of navigate that?
I think, well,
because it's got to be your choice. You got to want
When I went
to.
to Sat Vale, for example, that was different because, which I didn't quite remember all the time, but it makes sense now. I read it in the report. They said I knew most of the kids there, so if I knew most of the kids, that means it's local, which is a different type of mentality.
Okay.
So when I walk in there, they're like, "Yo, well, go on," and the man's gonna bring me in and make sure everything's happening.
This is like a prison. This is like
come over here, Mikey, and I'm sitting there like, so you don't really feel it yet. It's not in your head.
Okay.
You know what I'm dealing with, and then because I was caught awkward to deal with, so they sent me to the countryside. So now countryside's got to deal with me in a different manner. You know what I'm dealing with, and so I don't think they had a youth that was willing to run away, because I ran away all the time when I was in children's home at the beginning, and I couldn't read, right? So the first word I learnt was London, because I saw the street sign to London. You understand? I have no idea I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get to London. I know London's that way. Yeah. So the first place that caught me was a place called Black Boys. I thought, what a liberty. What the fuck? There must be Black Boys here as well, innit? I couldn't believe it. But it's the name of a village in Heathfield called Black Boys. And it's like, I think they're racist. But it took me, so that concept of constantly running away, it was badly managed, that emotional state. That's why if you see my poem Boy Man, for example, they're there to break my spirit, not to nurture my spirit. It makes sense.
That's
so
what we were talking about as well.
So it's not the same thing. So if you're going to try and break my spirit, and I'm conscious of you doing that, then I'm going to defend that spirit that I'm dealing with. So I'm like, you ain't going to break me. And so that's where that rebellious, but it must have been in me before I went in there.
It's something that was...
It was really there, right? It's innately in there. That fight or flight, you know, that fight or flight. So evidently I don't flight. You know what I mean? So it was... I think that was really... that was a weird one. I used to cry a lot at that stage, because you are broken, you miss your mum, you can't help it, you know. One of them ones, it's a tough scenario.
But then even with that, you actually did both, because not say flight as in, well, you did run away, but not necessarily that you're running away from a fight per se, but you want to run to where you want to be.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you were still willing to stand up and fight as well. You know, this is who I am.
I think as well that I just wanted to get back and help my mum. That's why I went in the way in the beginning. So I thought she'd never get the support she needs without me being there. That makes sense, because I'm seeing things that no one else is seeing, and that I'm having that relationship with her that no one else is having. So, and she was dependent on that. I mean, that was as the oldest one, right? Yeah. That's there. So I was trying to get back to that, and then they're trying to remind me that my mum's irresponsible, and so that battle of
nah, man, she's good. I know my mum.
My mum's alright, man.
Yeah, I know my mum.
I mean, but you always think that about your mum. And I think, again, do we have to say the child from your parents, or your parents from your child? Because that element's really...
This is it. That's where the madness starts. Because we were just literally speaking about it earlier, and before the pod, and we're like, there's so many circumstances where I'm saying, like, we've got young people that I deal with in schools, and we've been working with so many young people over time, and we know so, and we look at these parents and the way they're dealing with children, and we're like,
wrong. I mean, I'm dealing with someone now, a couple of people now, and it's like, I feel like shaking them, because they're not putting that child first.
And what was the thing you were saying about that honest conversation? There you go.
They're not out. No honest conversation.
Can't have that honest conversation.
Dishonest conversation, knowing it's dishonest. They're trying to convince me, and I'm sitting there with you, letting you know, no, that's not. That's not even. There is a problem with you already here. So, does a social service have time to invest in that? They don't. And that's what we're trying to say, isn't it?
That
So
would be powerful.
Because most of the time, people they're dealing with their own mental issues. They have children. It goes, it's not, can't manage, and it's
no point having a open dialogue with someone, right? And which they say, all right, I've got mental health issues. So, right, here's your medication. There are going to be some side effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it's going to help you get through so that we can get you to the next stage.
Right.
And you don't take that medication. You become a bad patient. Now, I don't know about bad patients. This is one thing I learned about children's home. I don't know what bad patient is because I grew up in children's home knowing as a good patient, you give me my pills, I'm taking them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm following my prescription. That's how I was taught. That's how you get better. You know what I mean? You go to doctors, you get ill, he gives you a prescription, you go home and you do your thing. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, wherever it's time you've got to take your medication, right? So when I came back to London and I saw the opposite of that going on, that man's going in there, getting his medication, then they're dashing it. You're like, yo, don't you think you should take medication? Nah, man, I don't.
Yeah, but is it that they're deluding themselves, or they think they don't need, like, or sometimes they don't trust what they're being given?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think the system,
because it has mad side effects. I've seen people say that I can't. I start to, there's other appetite goes on.
If you're
yeah, but you can manage that. Mm-hmm. That can be managed. That's what the doctors want to hear when you give you that medication. They need to hear there are side effects going on. But when you tell him there's no side effects, he knows that you're not taking it.
Yeah.
As soon, I got a prisoner, right? I got an ex-offender, right? He stood in the room with me because I need to help me get me flat. Because I'll help you get you flat, no problem. But we have to have an honest conversation. He goes, yeah, no, man, no problem. He looked at me, he goes, did you hear that voice? I goes, what voice? He goes, listen. I goes, T, you're nuts, you know, but not the way you think you are. Right? You must be nuts if you think I heard that voice.
Just you two in the room.
Yeah, just what I took next week. You didn't take your medication, did you? He didn't know what to do. He just looked at me. He goes, "How did you know?" I goes, "Because Tony, you're hearing voices."
He didn't even say that. He didn't even know.
He
knew, but he didn't know. But he did know.
Yeah, him know.
You said it.
Yeah. So now when you go and talk to Tony, how are you, T? He's like, I'm mocking. He's monging because he's taking his medication. He's staying in his house. He's not going on the road like he used to, and all the issues that he had before is going away. That's because he took his medication. Makes sense.
Crazy.
So there's a big difference. And if you go and talk to Tony, you're not taking that. He'll look at you and go, "You're mad. I'm taking my medications, mate. I'm a good patient now. I'm
compliant.
So I'm gonna comply." So
that's also dangerous though too.
It's very dangerous.
Like, because it puts them in a state of reliant, and then also that submissiveness to any authority that could, just like, let's say COVID, and it felt like a compliance test. So those that are vulnerable, that feel like they don't have a voice, and things are just getting pushed on them left, right and centre.
Yeah, but that's where the honest conversation comes back again, right? If it's an honest conversation, I go to the doctor and tell him I'm depressed. He don't knock my door and tell me you are depressed.
Yeah.
I go to him and say I'm depressed. So therefore, I'm already giving myself over to you. So therefore, if you say to me I have to take these thingies, right?
Happy pills.
These happy pills, then I should take them because I'm giving myself over to you. Yeah. And I should believe in the system, reality, because, you know, doctors are technically they're best interest. But sometimes we've learned that sometimes some of the decisions are made. It's not always in our best interest.
That's what they call them general practice, isn't it? General practice. Nah, that's mad. What do we not understand or underestimate? Like I was just saying, underestimating about the care system. Like because I've never been in it. I never understanding it.
Yeah.
And I think we underestimate how deep it is in there. What do we not?
You think? You see, like, do you ever watch Tracy Beaker?
Yeah, I did a project with Tracy Beaker.
Yeah.
I was part of the Children's in Care campaign with BBC, and she was one of the leads on it.
Right.
Oh, is it? Okay, so Renee, the 17-year-old, she used to watch it all the time, and she just had this idea of, you know, when she was in a mood with me or whatever, I'm gonna go, you know, live in a house like Tracy Beaker and this, that, and the other. And my whole thing was, what you think the care home looks just like that house, you know, that's not necessarily a reality for every child.
That's right.
You know, and I don't know if we actually, because if we've not experienced it ourselves, how are we going to possibly have an idea?
That's why we have to. That's why it's in. We have people that have living examples where they've gone.
Well, because Sharina now, that did grow up in the care system, she wants to help care leavers, because she said as a care leaver, she felt that she was just left to her own devices.
Yeah, I was abandoned. A lot of us are abandoned.
You reach to a certain age, and it's like...
It's proper prison thing, like, the way they're dealing with, like, no resettlement, like...
Yeah, no, none at all. It literally, though, but I'm not going to ever go at them, because it depends what happens to you while you're in there. So, I was still committing crime. So, I went from social services to probation with a blink of an eye. That makes sense.
So, kind of like institutionalised.
I was institutionalised. So that issue, I am institutionalised, but I'm not institutionalised. That makes sense. I'm institutionalised because I'm in there. I've been there for like since a little boy. Yeah.
But you're on your own thing.
But I'm doing my own thing in there. You know what I'm dealing with. But like I'm saying, it depends on everybody else. Not everybody's in there for crime. There's different reasons why some people's parents have died and have to be put in care. Or they're on unwanted birth, whatever it could be. They're in the care system. So for some people, it's you know, you've taken out some people out of such horrible houses, such a horrible environment, and if you get the right care system in place, then it could be positive for people. But depends. London, for example, London's care system is, I reckon, one of the worst, in a sense where it's so steep in many more faceted layers of what's going on.
Okay.
You know what I'm dealing with? Whereas, so when Beechwood House met me, they've never met a black youth that's a gang member who's been on road and crime, that stays up late to 9 and 12 o'clock at 3 o'clock in the morning with them type of thing there, living on the line that's used to domestic. They're not used to that youth. You know what I'm dealing with? They're not used to seeing a youth that is looking at 12-year-olds and fighting them. You know what I'm dealing with? Because I'm a youth that's come from Brixton, and I'm Brixton. That's a nothing thing. That's that's part of growing up, isn't it? That my man give you a net back, you got to go in there and defend yourself, right? So
I know about the net back.
That's why I told someone this story. He goes, do you know when man says watching your back? Do you know where that comes from? They said, no. He goes, come back from days of net back. And so walk down the road and the man be like, in the back in it, be like, why didn't no one tell me? Because no one had my back.
Where it come from there?
But I think this care system's got good and bad to it. It depends. I think in my time it wasn't really geared for black people as such.
So they're like test dummies, innit? You're just like going
just learning as
they're going along, because they're like, wow, okay, all right, let's just deal with it. This is the best way.
So was that because there wasn't enough like foster carers?
Oh, there was foster carers. There was private foster carers. You've always had that kind of thing. And we was talking about this the other day, where we wouldn't go to. There was a few foster carers, but most of us used to go to our parent or family members, innit?
Yeah.
We had one called Miss. I don't know if I can say her name, but we know her as Miss Nacky Nose. So when we went, you just knew it was gonna be a hard time when you go in the house there. You know, she's gonna beat you up and all sorts if you don't come correct. You know what I mean? And so there was care. There was a care system, but when it comes to black people, what people don't realise, and I saw that for the first time, is I didn't know there was a thing called separation syndrome, which was. A separation syndrome was those that come from Jamaica. That was already separated from their mothers and fathers who come first.
Yeah, so and they stayed with their granddads.
There was this huge separation thing.
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes they sit the siblings. One sibling sent from
the
other sibling.
And then another would come.
My mum and dad. Same with my mum and dad. Like,
so my family built up. They built up. One came and there was another one, and another one, and then so on and so forth.
And someone got left. Some of them got left.
Yes. Still out there.
Yeah.
Separation.
They had to split one. My uncle, sorry to cut. They had to split one of my uncle because they were so bad together. Peter and Paul.
Oh, twins.
Yeah, twins. They had to split them. So one's over here, one in Jamaica, but they still do the same behaviours on both sides. They can't do nothing. Yeah,
and I think as well, we was fresh to to the system, right?
Yeah.
Care system.
Yeah.
The care system was pure white.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah, it would have been.
If you think about it, the 50s, then you had the war. So you had a lot of kids that was going through the wartime.
Lost
right?
parents and yeah.
And you had some mixed race kids in there because
Yeah,
you had the Americans come over and as have mixed race kids. That's when it
Some
first
Asian,
happened.
maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when it first happened, and so you had a lot of kids that was mixed race that grew up in care in children's home, but they was coming through what we call the system of the army, that side of it. And so when they went into that doctrine, it's much different ball game to what you might say, what was happening when in the 60s and 70s, when more black kids was getting brought into the care system, but the care system wasn't adapting itself for cultural awareness. We just had to adapt to what was going on there.
Yeah.
So they weren't adapting, but you had to adapt.
We had to adapt.
If there was one thing you could go back and change in the care system, what would you change and why?
Okay, so it's what I do now. I think there'd be a bit more awareness to what the issues are of what's going on. So, for example, I think that was quite harsh on me when it comes to explaining to me my mum's issues. They just called her bad.
Tactful.
No, it wasn't very tactful at all. And they'll see in my report. I picked up table and dash it at them and things like that. Don't talk about my mum like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's black people. You don't talk about my mum like that.
Slightest.
Well, it's a very sensitive subject, and they had no idea that this is a sensitive subject you're dealing with. You cannot be talking about my mum on no level negatively, because we're gonna fight. I'm gonna stand. I don't care who you are. So you don't talk about my mum like that. Whatever problems she's going through. So I think they're getting there. It's getting there now. I think there's more empathy. There's more blacks in the system. There's more youth workers. But after them, they don't have what I might call certain experiences about them. So I think a lot of that's got to be used as well. That some of the experience of those that's gone in there. I'd like to see some type of board put in place. We've been trying to do that for a little while.
Nah, make it happen, bro. Because
there's some kind of, they've got a voice. They've got a little bit of voice, and we've had a national voice. But national voice, like I'm saying, there are issues that some people in care might know, and then someone else's experience would be different from someone else's experience because they've come through another door. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's not a universal.
It's not a universal reason why we're there.
Yeah.
Dealing with. So it's like my one's very extreme. That I've gone. No, actually, it's quite common that we've gone into children's home and we've stayed in there, and then we've gone on to adult crime. That's a high stat for that in the service
and that
system.
speaks volumes in itself.
But again, that's because of they didn't give me, even though I was grown as a child, I wasn't a child.
you have to grow up quick, man.
So
Mate,
it weren't like say you were nurtured or you
none
had
of that.
none of that.
At night time, they send me to bed, and everyone staff shuts down, and skeleton systems put in place, staffing, right? That little dim light gets put on, and then the world opens up again. You know, one of them ones. It's like the children's home opens up. All the other secrets come out, all the boyfriends and girlfriend tricks and all the other things and stolen stuff that's been stolen, and you know what I mean? We have our own little, do you know Toy Story?
Yeah.
That's the care system for me.
Oh wow.
So everybody wakes up at night, starts talking and that, and
And then when someone comes, we're like,
That is funny. But yeah, that is, wow.
No, but we do that as kids anyway.
Anyway.
When our mum's like, the mum, that,
What you do?
in the bunk bed, yo. See when we come out of this yard, you know. See mum, dad,
yeah, you know what it was?
yeah. Mum used to come with the Hoover at 7 o'clock in the morning, but they're talking.
Just there. So that was a lot of that is goes on.
Wow, Toy Story, what an analogy. You learn
that.
it.
And it's heightened more while you're in there because we have this camaraderie with each other. Yeah. We're all lost and we've all been taken away and we're all like on this road that's, you know.
That's mad. How much do you think it's shaped, like, through your goals and aspirations now?
It shaped it big, bro.
It's massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of things could you pinpoint? Like, do you think? Yeah, I know you did the visualization. Like, you could, you know, you look back and you say, "Oh, I can visualize." But what? Yeah, how has it shaped you as a person now? Like, to get to in terms of resilience and like.
Well, you know, for example, there's a lot of things it can make me do. That's why I can make something happen and creep up on you before you realise. That makes sense.
That sounds like some milkshake.
I
You know the milkshake?
I became a poet under the spotlight of everybody around me, correct?
Right, cool.
And all my issues of cocaine, everything was around me. Everybody thought I was finished. And then all of a sudden I just popped up as a poet. How did I do that?
Sort of like hiding in plain sight.
Wow, you're going deep. Allow it though. She knows that all that catchphrase thing, innit?
It's true though.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
but that makes sense to you.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
mad.
Yeah.
So you have to break that down. You have to break that down a bit
so
more.
that I can now paint that picture for you. That's how the system works. It's like a snapshot of a moment. So I'm going to give you that snapshot moment. Boom. And your own behaviour is going to take you down that road. Because that's the system is built that way. So it's going to go, oh, that snapshot moment, let's tick off this box, that box, this box, this box, this box. And they're off, they're gone. Little do they know, I'm going to make my other move over here now, innit? The move I really want to make, right? So I make that move. I was talking about this some the other day. I said, people won't get on the other stuff. I said, I had to go rock bottom to get away from everybody. I couldn't do it no other way. Yeah. I have to hit rock bottom.
Ain't that scary? You know how scary that is for some people though.
You
Like
say that, but some people actually pinpoint that to be the time where, when you're rock bottom, the only way you can go is
goes up, and no one's expecting you to come up.
Yeah.
okay, but that's
no one.
Literally you're starting at ground zero.
Yeah.
So whatever happens next is just on you now.
no. All right, but no one actually goes out to actually say no.
No,
in
no
this
one
in
says
mad
that.
world.
Yes, you can.
You can, but you know, like we always say to someone, that person has hit rock bottom before they realise, because we know the thing, but we don't want to do it on ourselves. You know, I'll never orchestrate on but I did. When I did, I was like,
Yeah, but what do you call it? Okay, so I can, as an example, for example, right? So I had a court case, right? I had a court case. The whole country thought I was guilty. I played the whole country, so we took him down that guilty road, right? But there was something else going on. Does that make sense? So we gave him that snapshot moment because it made them happy.
Yeah.
They all thought when he comes to court, he's going to plead guilty, he's going to get his little sentence, and then this is what you do. That's what they do. But because I was playing another trick with them, right? So I gave you the snapshot moment, and then I did something over here. And it came down to that idea when I said to you that I'm a national description, for example. So that national description made me realise that all I had to do at the point that meant is not get caught at the scene of the crime. So they don't know I know this.
Yeah.
No one knows I know this. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm giving you a snapshot that I'm going to be pleading guilty.
Yeah.
Right? But once I went to court and I dropped it on them, they couldn't believe it. They was like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? Yeah, not guilty.
They
Bye.
thought they had it in the bag.
Yeah, so it's understanding that these moments can come in different ways.
my man thought he was getting his paper. You know them bands did early night. You know what I mean? Early night. This is
It's
nice.
gonna be an easy one.
Yeah, this is all we've got him.
Can you imagine the judge this is going to
I stood up. Yeah, and I stood up. I went not guilty in the whole clock. Are you sure? Are you sure, Michael? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to go not guilty. Yeah. And then that moment came for me to put it on them. And when I did it, when it happened, it was done. It was over. But that plan, I had to wait a year to make that happen. And I had to keep that into myself for a year.
To wait on your show.
You know what I mean? Like, there's moments I felt like giving in, but I thought this is the bigger picture is much more important here. So I have to really.
So that's the.
So you got to have a bigger picture.
Game.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the game I have to play. That's what children's home taught me, that there is no shortcut out for me for this situation. I'm here, and once that thing's put in place, there's a process you got to go through. You can't get out of it quicker. So sometimes you just have to go through.
You could, but then they're gonna pull you back again, and then it's gonna make it longer.
Okay, so therefore, I got to stick to it.
So it done you a favour to come to a place of acceptance.
Yes, I like this. See.
She's there. This is the 40th episode.
No, but
It's
it's
just
really
growing.
important because if you look at my behaviour, since then, I've always accepted something. That's like my mum's shooting. I accepted that responsibility. I didn't blame the police. I'm not going to blame them. I'm going to take responsibility for that, because I'm not saying it's my fault. I'm just saying, well, I knew what was good from bad. I knew that when I was going down that road, I was increasing opportunities for me to get injured by police or everybody else around me to be thingy. So
there's consequences.
Yeah. So I've got to accept.
Ripple effect.
Yeah, I've got to accept that. I'm responsible for that. So now, as part of that now, and it's in my makeup as well, my sisters will tell you, if I'm somewhere with you now and you say you're calling the police, I ain't moving. I ain't moving at all, bro. I'm just going to stay right there until the police come. Deal with that until then I will move. So I think that it's just one of those things you could sort of got to just look at the bigger picture, and I think all them years of going through that Toy Story element and then learning how to use that to my advantage. You understand me? So before I was just wild of it. I didn't understand it at all. And then I realised you got to be smarter than this now, brother. You know what I mean?
So
you use it to your benefit.
so parents and that are there's some parents that are on the verge. I don't know which angle to really come on, because that I always believe the child should be the centre of everything, of any situation about the guy, whether they're going to care, whether they're in school system, everything. The child should be the centre of everything. But it seems like it gets taken away. The whole, when there is an issue around a child or whatever, it seems like everybody's worrying about, me and you don't talk in it. So, well, it's all mad. I want to center on the child. This is center on a child. And if you could talk to children that are, and this is mad and random, but if you could talk to a child that's in that system at this moment, and they're trying to navigate their way around it and don't know what to do, or they feel abandoned, they feel like everything's against them and that, what would you say to them? What kind of advice would you give to them? Because I don't want to talk to the parents, the tutor, or the social services, or the cases. I want to actually talk to the child.
What could someone have said to you as a child?
Probably that. You couldn't.
No. It's really impossible to do that, because each of us has got our own story, right? And come with different experiences. So the key for me was, did I grow up in an environment that taught me honest conversation? You know, did I have that nurturing that was put in place? No, I didn't. So I was always suspicious of authorities and things like that. And again, each kid's got a different skill set, right? So what one kid would do is just the same as when you go in the playground at school, brother, or in the classroom. We've all got hierarchies, isn't it? And there's certain kids you can say certain things to, and there's certain kids you can say other things to. There's not one generalisation. You've just got to go in there. But the key here is how you going to listen. That's the key here. So I think, I can listen to many different stories of many different kids, and I can give you different advice to them if I really want to. That's because I've got that extreme knowledge. You know what I mean? Of going in and meeting all these different characters under one roof. There's 1,000 prisoners in Lewis. There's 1,000 prisoners in Brixton. There's 900 prisoners in Wandsworth. There's 80 people in children's home in Borstal. So when you get all these characters under one roof, that's heightened. You get to learn different people's skill sets and how to deal with them differently. So when I was if I'm on the landing in prisons, because I used to be number ones, right? I'd be a number one, or I'd be like befriend the scheme.
What's the number one, like the cleaner and that?
Number one.
What does that mean, bro?
Number one.
Like the boss.
Say nothing.
The
head, you know.
The go-to.
The go-to, yeah. You'd be number ones.
Oh, okay.
Number ones on the landing, or you'd have someone like a befriender or something like that, right? So there you go. So each that befriender, I'm a befriender. Well, I got the befriender because I was able to engage with everybody, and the screws saw it.
It goes back to again the engage.
So when the screws went, Groce is engaging. Everyone knows him, right? He's engaging with everybody, right? But he doesn't have a best friend. That was one of the bonuses for me as a person. So now I could sort of like talk to the different persons and don't feel away or have a be biased in any way.
Watch
you
your
know
net.
what I mean?
Watch your net back.
Yeah. Watch net back. So in that sense, we could. So if you just come in for the first time, right? Then I know I can say certain things to him. Right, so for you that comes for the first time, and he's never been, I'll ask him certain questions. Where you from? Where you there for? Why are you here? And then he tells me, then I can guide him by basing what he just said to me. So if he says I'm here for theft, I got nicked down Hampstead, blah blah blah. My barrister said this a bit. Sure, come here. This is what I go on. You know what I mean? But if it's a man, I don't know what's going on, and they just put me down, and you can see he's timid. Then you go, okay. Anything goes wrong, you come to me. If anything happens to you, you go and you.
So then you've just got a heart for people.
I think that could be the key to it. Yeah. I think you got to have people's skill set. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not all social workers or screws. The best screws in prisons or the best youth workers are the ones with the people's skill set. He has no favoritism. Him just, he's a miserable bastard to all of us, and he's good to all of us as well.
Same time.
You know, one of them ones
Yeah,
there. So you just know what comes from him genuinely, straight. You know what I'm dealing with?
Setting man up and that.
Yeah, he ain't gonna set you up. He ain't gonna say,
No.
you know, important. They got me a football trial for Reading, right? And I was told now at Portland, there's 3 screws I got to watch out for: Crib, Gates, Johnston. That's what they said to me. And Pecky Williams. I don't mean to use that word, but that's what he's called it. So I'm in prison, in Wandsworth prison. This screws us on my case non-stop when we're really getting on well. And as I walked away, man goes, "What are you doing talking to Pecky Williams?" Who? I went, Pecky Williams. Because that's not Pecky Williams, because he didn't look Indian. I go, that's not Pecky Williams. I go, that's Pecky Williams. He's a cunt. I goes, well, he gets on well with me. Johnston got on well with me, Crib and Gates. All the 4 top screws.
That they said to look out for.
Yeah, everyone said keep away from them. But I was all right with them because I like you talking straight. I don't want you telling me, oh, you got any favoritism. I won't talk to you.
Okay.
You know what I'm dealing with? Because you don't have that capacity I need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to be swayed by somebody.
And end up in the showers.
And you get in the shower, Ben up.
Nah, wowzers. Let's not talk about that.
So I think that's the key here.
That
goes into my work today.
No, we come to. No, this has been. We'll have to part 2 it, and then we've come to. But this is it's kind of a thing of. I hope people can
go
take.
Back to the original one. You said, though.
Yeah, go on.
The fathering bit, right?
Yeah, go on.
So I think this is where the work is coming. This is where my work is coming to play now. What all my experiences is coming to play, because we can put that down and put into a process now. That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
So we're not scared of having open conversations. I might not have it with the social services straight away, but I will have it with my clients. You know, I'm dealing with, and I'll put that in play, and I'll give you an honest assessment to what's going on, rather than sort of like try and use a scaremongering idea, where they're going to take your kid away. That doesn't work.
No.
So if that's the case, they'll just fabricate a whole different
Whatever
story
they
that it looks okay, and you're going to get past that thingy. Whereas sometimes you just have to accept it is what it is, and that this person's on a long journey of recovery, and so they might need a different support mechanism put in place. Just a little bit in kindness, just an area that don't constantly tell them off. You know, one of them ones. Just the patience of it all.
That's the one thing about to learn.
And one of my clients, she's like, Mike, remember what I was like last year? Because you was a mess. Your house was a mess. Your whole life was a mess. You was a mess. Everything was a mess. You're still a mess. But you're structured mess. You know what I mean? She's like, you're right, you know, Mike.
I don't know what that is, you know.
She was like, yeah, but now I know, innit? You've showed me that even if I'm on the floor, as long as the front room is tidy, that's all matters, mate, innit, Mike? I goes, that's right.
Go on.
It's just do that. I don't mind you doing that now and then, because we all have those moments. We all go through it.
100%.
Relapses.
100%.
That's the reality of it. I don't want to take my medication today. I'm going to see if I can beat it. You know what I'm dealing with? I want to be normal. Let me see if I can have a drink. Let me see if I can mix with my friends. So these little things people are going to want to do. It's just putting that structure in place for them to say, you know what, you can just come to me. So one of them, they said, which is what no one did for my mum and me. They went, my daughter loves coming to your house. You've got pencils and paper there for them. I've got shit in my house that didn't even have for my kids. That makes sense. That's based on children's home. That's children's home coming out of me. Everything is already there in place. So when someone visits, I can go, do you want a board game? Let's get a board game out. We can do something, right? And so she now knows that if it really gets tough, there's 4 or 5 of them know if it really gets tough, they can just open my door, come in, make something to eat.
Just, be comfortable.
Be comfortable. If they want a bath, they can have a bath. You're not going to hear from me, not you, not this again. No.
Yeah,
so is it like you trying to give something that you wish
I had? Yeah, which was not in place for someone like my mum. My mum would go to my mum's house, my grandmother's house, for support. And I know why she didn't go back twice. That makes sense? Yeah. My grandmother's looking down at her. That's just chewing a wasp and all the other generations. Yeah, you know this. And all the other uncles are looking at my mum like, but who do they come to when they weren't in a good time and want to let their hair down? They come to my mum's house. They put up at my mum's yard. You know what I mean? So it was a bit hypocritical.
So then having like your home like set up in a certain way, is that quite therapeutic to you as well?
Yes, it's lovely, and it's like they say, because I wanted to give them an image they'd never seen before, right? So they used to see black man as dog, lay down with any girl, doing things negative, you know them, especially if you've got like a roadman attitude towards you.
Yeah.
They want to come
already put you in a box.
Yeah, they really want to come to me. Yeah, but you're one of the man them. No, I'm not, I was one of the man them. But what you see now, I'm just a man them. I'm just a man, innit? So what you're seeing is a man, not man in the man them. Yeah. Right? It's just a man. But my house is clean. It looks like a woman lives there with me, but it's not. It's just the way I want to portray myself. Yeah. And I've been celibate for 3 years because I got rid of my last girlfriend because I just felt that relationship was perpetuating a relationship and an image of me that was just completely wrong. That makes sense. So I got rid of that, and I've decided that I needed to do things slightly different and have a different morality put in place for me, right? So now I can be around women. I told a man this other day, he got vexed with me. I went, do you know when a woman thinks you touch her, they think you want sex? Did you know that?
No.
How often do you see a man touch a woman?
Shouldn't be.
There you go. There you go. But you should be able to touch a woman without having one touch sex with her.
100.
You should be able to go.
To embrace.
Just come on, babe. Let's have a cuddle. Without her thinking, oh, he's gonna want sex with me now. Oh, he's gonna, you know, one of them ones.
That's the automatic.
Yeah. They just think, oh, we gotta have to go. And this guy, them not no. They say you can walk naked in front of that man. Like, he's not gonna make you feel away. I'm not here to. That's not what I want to be. I think that took a lot to get me there. I think that's
self-control and
discipline,
isn't it?
I think that's no, it's a process. But if more of us are doing that as men, and being there for our females and being there for our male counterparts and being there for the community,
motive,
we can do a lot.
And the man was vexed with me when I pointed out to him, and then it was a girl in the room said to him, "It's true. We do. There's a lot of women that does think that. That's why they don't like men touching them. Because when a man touch them, they just know he ain't thinking straight."
What's that thing managed to do with it? You said that they do. They get it and they do little.
My Uncle Tony does that. My Uncle Tony will meet you in front of me, and he'll go, "Hi."
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I feel like punching him. It's my uncle, you pervert.
There's one thing seeing what someone's eyes is saying, and it's another thing when someone.
Yes, uncle. Come in. Got that up in the place.
That hidden morality, the more motive. Yeah. But like I'm saying now, it's really nice that I can actually sit, and I've not done that before.
No, that's amazing.
I've been the dog all my life. That makes sense. It's like I am. No one knows the art of touching. The art of touching that can lead to where you need to get to. You know what I'm dealing with? I've got 6 sisters, right? But now, to me to turn around and sort of like say, no, I can sit in their company now and feel no way.
That's mad.
To touch. I think that's really important element for me. It's my work as well, because I'm dealing with not women.
Yeah, and young women.
Young women as well, who are vulnerable. You know what I'm dealing with? That is it. And they need to know that
he's safe.
Yeah.
That they're safe.
Yeah.
That they can actually be vulnerable and comfortable.
And it's been a challenge because even they're looking at me going, no, this can't be right.
We want to jump in and that.
Yeah, it's right.
What was the? Alright, so we come because time is mad. We have to get back on. We have to get back on the show because I could talk to him all day, you know.
Literally.
Alright, so the question. No, I loved it, man. That was beautiful.
It was necessary.
But what was the question? There's a question from the previous person.
I guess. I mean, I would say like, what is it you're gonna do from this day forward to really, you know, how do I say, honor this gift of life that you've been given?
Do you want that as in the personal or my work?
Personal.
In my personal, I'm just going to build my relationship with my children.
Wow.
I think that's really important for me because I couldn't do it before. It won't happen until I close this case with Lambeth. I think once that's closed and finished, I can go back. For me, it's like, it took 30 years to get me justice for my mum's shooting, me personally. It's taken me 40 years, 50 years to get this sorted out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like closing off a chapter.
it's just it needs to be closed because it was always floating in the background, and I never quite grasped that. You know, and there'd be certain things I would do. I couldn't walk past Children's Home Beach. I couldn't walk past Shirley Oaks.
You want to blow it up in it, throw 2 bombs in there.
Yeah,
But there's kids in there, so you can't do that.
So I think that's what I'm going to do. I was thinking about it the other day because I'm going to shut down Booted and Rooted, I think. Because after I got that shit email from the Ministry of Justice.
Yeah, it's up for funding and foolishness.
Yeah, foolishness. Yeah, so that's what we're
Okay,
going to do.
no,
All right, so you've got to ask a question to the next guest. To
What's
that
that
camera. Any question? You can ask any question you want.
question.
Any question you want.
Can I?
Mhm.
And we don't. I don't know the subject.
You don't know who they are. Don't know. It's just random.
Well, it's almost. I'm going to pass on the question they gave me.
Well, okay, go on then. You got to ask, but you got to say it though.
Your own. Yeah.
So tell me, because you are one of the head. Can I look at it?
Yeah. You can pop it
What
like.
did you call us? One of the what? What did you call me? What is it? You're going to do the what now? The big boys.
Oh, you said your top 10, like your
No. You said you're stepping up the show now because you're writing it.
Yeah. We're going in with the big, the hard hitters.
The hard hitters.
We're going in with the hard hitters now.
Yeah.
Okay, so now as a hard
and
hitter.
the next one is a hard hitter.
Yeah.
As a hard hitter.
Yeah.
Right? Again, I'm going to pass the question on what was given to me as a hard hitter. What am I going to do with the gift? And the same thing I'm asking. I'm going to pass on that question is, what would you do with your gift? What are you going to do with your gift after this project, after this program? It'd be interesting to know that.
What you can do with your life?
Yeah.
Nah, this has been a mad pod, you know. Like, I need to get him on again, though. There's too much. It's too much layers, fam.
Could we just have to be
Bare onion and that. Bare onion and that.
But yeah,
It's on the peel layers and peel.
I don't know. It's hard when it's like, where'd you go with it?
It's too many layers, man.
It's like a layer in it. What can you do?
Nah, man.
Thank
But
you,
thank you for
Michael.
coming on. Hold on, did I give my name? Wait there. Where's the gift?
What gift?
No, there's always a gift, Paul. No matter what, big or small, we like to give them
This
a
one's
gift, innit?
weighty.
You get me?
You can open it
Don't
later.
open it now on the pod though, because you don't know. It's just, bro, it could be just wrapped nothing. It just, that's to make it look like we gave it. No matter what I don't care.
Welcome.
It's nothing special.
Then you should have said that. You should have given me this first and then asked me what I'm going to do. That would have been perfect.
No, it's dead.
I'm gonna unwrap myself
That's
even
dead.
more.
That's dead. You got the perfect answer. But now, do you want to do the outro, babe?
No, but thanks once again. And thank you everyone that's been following this journey, continuing to support us.
40, you know.
You know what I mean? Like the big
This
4
is
R's.
the 40th episode.
Yeah, bro.
That's good.
It is
How
really
often do you do
good.
it? Once a month?
Once a
Once a
week,
week.
bro.
Yeah. No, we've
No,
We're still
go
on
on,
the
go on,
journey,
go on,
innit?
go on,
But,
go on,
you
go on,
know.
go on, go on.
it one step at a time. One step at a time.
Yeah. Anyway, you lot don't know the MySpace. Pick up yourself 9565 Brockwide. You get me?
Get me. We out.